Today, we're diving into one of the strangest and most terrifying what-ifs of all time. What if, one day, the Earth simply stopped spinning? No warning, no explosion, just silence. A stillness so unnatural that even the wind forgets how to move. At first, no one notices. The sun seems to rise slower that morning, a golden haze stretching endlessly across the horizon. But within minutes, scientists at observatories across the world begin sending messages no one understands. Satellites drift slightly out of alignment. Flight paths go haywire. GPS signals fail. And then, the numbers stop changing. The Earth has stopped. It takes less than a second for chaos to begin. You see, everything on Earth's surface, oceans, buildings, cars, even the air itself, was moving with the planet's rotation at 1,670 kilometers per hour. When the rotation stops, that momentum doesn't just disappear. It's unleashed. The atmosphere keeps moving, turning into a wall of wind faster than any hurricane. Cities are shredded in an instant. Entire oceans surge toward the east, swallowing coastlines and erasing islands. Skyscrapers bend and vanish into the rushing fog. The sound is something no living creature was ever meant to hear, like the sky itself is screaming. Hours later, what's left of humanity hides in mountains, bunkers, and caves. Communication networks are gone. Power grids have failed. And the world has entered a new kind of night, one that doesn't end. Because without rotation, there's no day or night anymore. Half of the planet is now locked in eternal daylight, scorched under the unrelenting sun. Temperatures rise above 70 degrees Celsius. Oceans boil. The atmosphere expands. Storms hundreds of kilometers tall swirl above the equator. The other half is frozen solid, a black wasteland where even air begins to crystallize. In the middle, between these two extremes, a thin band of twilight becomes the last refuge for life. A man named Elias stands in that twilight zone, a scientist who once studied planetary motion. He stares at the orange sky and whispers, "It wasn't supposed to stop." His radio crackles once every few hours with the same message looping from what's left of a global research station. The core has synchronized. The planet's momentum is gone. No external force detected. In other words, the Earth didn't slow down because of anything from outside. It did it on its own. Weeks pass. The heat and cold begin reshaping the world. The oceans migrate, pouring toward the frozen poles where gravity and ice battle for dominance. Tectonic plates shift without the stabilizing spin. Earthquakes ripple like aftershocks of the planet's dying heartbeat. Volcanoes awaken across the Pacific, and magnetic fields collapse. Without the rotating core, Earth's magnetic shield fades, the invisible armor that once protected life from solar radiation. Now the atmosphere is slowly being stripped away by the solar wind. Radiation levels climb. Auroras glow permanently across the day side, dazzling but deadly. Every hour the world looks less like the Earth we knew, and more like Mars. Elias begins documenting everything. He writes by candlelight, his breath fogging in the cold twilight air. Day 34. The sun no longer moves. The stars are fixed. Time feels meaningless. Plants have stopped growing. The animals that survived the winds now wander, disoriented between heat and cold. I can hear the earth creaking beneath me like it's settling. But one question haunts him more than the silence. Why? Why did the earth stop? One theory spreads among the surviving scientists, that something massive, perhaps even invisible, passed near the planet. A dark matter cloud or an interdimensional rift. Something that didn't hit Earth physically but drained its angular momentum. Others whisper of artificial causes, experiments with quantum gravity gone wrong, or an ancient mechanism at the planet's core finally shutting down. Elias doesn't know which to believe. He just keeps recording, hoping someone someday will find his words. Months turn to years. The atmosphere thins. The twilight band where life once clung to survival begins to shrink. The scorching side grows, burning continents into glass. The frozen side collapses into sheets of carbon snow. Humanity fades, Not in an explosion, but in whispers. Yet somehow, Elias survives. He builds a small observatory on a mountain where the temperature still hovers around 0. Each night he points his telescope toward the stars, which no longer rise or set. And one night he sees it. A faint shimmer far beyond the dead horizon. Not a star. Not a planet. Something moving. It glides across the sky like a bruise in the cosmos. A distortion, bending light itself. And for the first time in years, Elias smiles. Because maybe, just maybe, the Earth didn't stop by accident. Decades later, all that remains are fragments, a silent planet half frozen, half burning, drifting through space like a broken clock. The moon has begun to drift away, no longer held by the same rotational balance. The oceans are gone. Mountains turn to dust. But deep beneath the ground, in the cavern where Elias once lived, his words remain carved into the wall. The day the Earth stood still was not the end of time. It was the beginning of something waiting to wake us up. If anyone, or anything, ever finds this world again, they'll see our cities fossilized under glass, our oceans turned to vapor trails in space, and our story written in the ashes of a planet that once spun so perfectly. Because in the end, maybe motion was the only thing that kept us alive. And when that motion stopped, we were forced to remember that the universe itself never truly rests. It only pauses and waits for the next beginning.